Hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. Sorry, I didn't have everything pulled up ahead of time. Just jumping straight into the live stream, so give me a minute. Didn't want to leave everybody hanging for another 30 seconds. I do have good stuff to talk about today, which is the same as every Tuesday. Never a Tuesday where I have bad stuff to talk about, but, well, some Tuesdays actually I do have bad stuff to talk about, like when our cats are in the hospital or when our sewer line breaks or stuff like that. Just making sure my video is working on the other page. I do have an incredible postcard of the week. I'm not sure which one I'm going to show yet, but whichever one it is, it's incredible. I scanned all of the postcards I got at the York show yesterday, and I'll be making a video, members video, showing which ones I bought to sell, and the ones I bought for my collection I'll be showing as the postcards of the week every Tuesday. Bought close to 100 for myself, so I will have postcards of the week for the next almost 2 years if I show every single one. Let's see here. There's one, I don't know, should I show like the best one first, or should I ease into it? Okay, let me see. I'll just go ahead and show the one. Actually, okay, I know which one I'm going to show now. This is one of my favorites that I picked up. I wouldn't say it was one of, or the best one, but this is a card I've been looking for a while. Let me catch up with the chat here. Philip Biderbeck said, "Happy Thanksgiving, everyone." Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Wow, that actually looked pretty high quality. I'm looking at that on the other screen on YouTube, and I was worried it would be blurry, but that's a pretty sharp image. Bob said, "Hey Daniel, first time I'm able to catch you live. Welcome in, Bob." Hal said, "Hello Daniel, good to be here again." Nice to have you, Hal, as always. Definitely talked to some people at York about the Wichita show, and yeah, they all said it was a great show, and hopefully I'll be able to make it next year, but at least I got to go to one show this year. Anyway, this is the postcard of the week. This is the Zim, the house that Zim built. Our Chicago office is located at 304 Michigan Avenue. I have been looking for this card. I've seen it on eBay product research before, and but yeah, there obviously weren't any for sale. The Kurt Tyke factory in Chicago is another postcard I'm looking for. Let me see if I can find an image of that one. I believe it's the Kurt Tyke factory in Chicago, but this one was definitely the more special one to me, just because I love Zim postcards, and they published a lot of difficult to find views. Some publishers printed the same views as a lot of the other publishers. I don't know what it was, but I think either they were working off of the same negative or photograph, but Zim published so many unique views, and it's pretty uncommon for me to find a Zim postcard and that exact same view is on another postcard. I don't know, they're just really good quality color postcards, and one of my favorite publishers along with Albert Type. And this is their headquarters, the house that Zim built, their postcard headquarters. And let me just see if I can find that Kurt Tyke card in the other window I have pulled up. This is one I got from Mary Martin herself. Okay, yeah, so it looks like the Kurt Tyke factory. Okay, one of those sold not too long ago. And maybe, and I did have a few other postcard related items that I picked up at the show. One Alan actually picked up for me too. And thank you, Alan. That one's really cool. That one's a Dexter Press postcard showing their headquarters and their little postcard mobile, whatever they called it. Let me see if I can find this Zim. I know it sold before. Okay, so this Zim one looks like it sold last year in March, but the one that sold last year in March was in worse condition. But yeah, just a really great card. And I'm gonna have to keep an eye out now for the Kurt Tyke one. I'm gonna have to think of all the other. I have a few other like headquarters ones where they made postcards. Um, I'd have to look in my collection to see which ones I have, but that's definitely a big collecting interest of mine. And I think a lot of postcard collectors, a big interest is postcards on postcards or Deltiology related postcards. So there's a lot of competition. um, okay, yeah, I don't see one at first glance of the Kurt Tyke factory that's currently for sale, but when I found it on product research, it looks like they have sold between 20 to 25 bucks before. So I'll have to keep an eye out for that one for sure. Jerry Lynn said hello from Las Vegas. Welcome in. Live from Athens, Georgia. So yeah, this is one of the cards I got at York. Like I said, I got about 100 for my personal collection. To sell, I didn't count them, but I did scan them all. So just looking at the scan numbers, I could tell I got 701 postcards at York to sell. All of them I picked out myself. I didn't buy any boxes. There were some dealers there that were selling boxes. Some dealers seemed like they really wanted to sell some boxes. Like, are you sure you don't want to buy some boxes? And I had to say, oh, I'd love to, but we're flying back, and I don't know. I think it would be a little bit difficult to get the. Some dealers, the boxes that some dealers had were like custom made and 2 feet long. I don't know if they used to make boxes for shows like this and the dealers have just had them for decades, or if the dealers had them custom made. But there were some crazy box sizes at York. Anyway, Jim said, nice to meet you at York. Nice to meet you too. And I do apologize. I am not very good at remembering people's names, so I'm better at remembering screen names. Like I recognize all the screen names in here, but like meeting people, when somebody tells me your name, I am unfortunately likely to forget. Although I do remember meeting Alan. I met John or Popeye. I met Jason, was really nice, and I met several others. I apologize if I don't remember your name. I remember your face, or I remember everybody's face, just not as good with names. But it was really nice. Uh, it felt like I don't know how to describe it, like a gathering of almost like an extended family reunion where some of the family members you haven't seen ever and some of them you haven't seen in years. Felt like that. Like everybody, it was just really cool meeting people and putting names to, or putting faces to names that I've only seen online or on eBay or on other places. So that was really neat. Met Mike Blood. That was really cool. I felt bad because I didn't recognize him at first, and he was like, "Hey, Daniel, it's Mike Blunt." I go, "Oh, geez, totally should have recognized you because I've definitely I did an interview with him. I've seen him before on YouTube, so should have recognized him. But I think no, it's just in the zone for the few days there." Lee said, "Hi, all from San Antonio." Alan said, I bought 5 boxes of RPPCs tabbed for states for $1,000. Nothing super hot in there, but enough to warrant the purchase, in my opinion. I bought $300 worth of other cards, 1950 to 1965 chromes. Yeah, I mean, for at that cost for RPPCs, you can't really go wrong at that cost per card. And even if you could just even if you didn't want to deal with listing those individually, you could just sell those in bulk and still make a bunch of money. Because I think what for bulk RPPCs you can get at least $1 a card, right? Even if it isn't high end stuff. But yeah, I flew, so I wasn't really looking to buy a huge amount of bulk cards. I just love picking out cards, and that's what I did at the show. I was fortunate that I got a lot of time to pick out cards that I wanted for myself. Um, I stuck mainly to Georgia, got a couple Tennessee, Got some postcard related cards. Got a lot of nice linens for myself. Few trucks, some car dealerships, gas stations, diners, stuff like that. So that was the stuff that I liked. For stuff to sell, definitely stuck to mainly state views. Um, and I stuck to a lot of what I know. So that would be one tip I have for those of you going to postcard shows. If you're newer, or if it's one of your um, first shows, or even if you're just looking to get a feel. If you don't know a lot of the dealers there, this is really helpful. So for shows in Georgia, Tennessee, I've seen most of the dealers at those shows 4 or 5 times at least. So I have a pretty good idea of what type of stuff they have, how they price their stuff, and, stuff like that. But at York, I knew a few dealers there, but didn't really know many, since I'd never been to a show in the Northeast before, or was it the Midwest? But yeah, what I would do when I sat down at a table, the first thing I would ask to see is their Georgia, or the first thing I would look for is their Georgia section. And from there, I could get a pretty good idea if I was going to spend more time there. And some tables I stopped at, I only looked at the Georgia, and then I maybe bought a card or two, maybe not, and then I moved on. If their cards, maybe they didn't have, maybe they had a lot of cards, but there were not really any good ones that I'm looking for, or maybe they had some good cards, but they were priced really high. If that was the case, I would move along. But if they had, in some categories that I was looking for, I'd look at Georgia, Tennessee, um, some other, nice linen categories like gas stations, diners, stuff like that. If they had nice cards in those categories and some were priced pretty good, then I would definitely stick around and um, spend more time at that dealer. And I spent the majority of my time with just a handful of dealers. There are just so many there at the postcard show that it's hard to see everything the show has to offer. But I did try to at least take a peek in almost every single dealer's Georgia section. And yeah, bought a lot of incredible Georgia cards. And there's Georgia is one, like, I can pretty much, if I go to a dealer and I look in their, Samuel Schmucker section, or John Winch, or Ellen Clapsaddle, there's a pretty good chance the dealer's going to know more about those cards than me. But if I look in a dealer's Georgia section, I can almost guarantee you I know more about Georgia cards than that dealer does. And that's why I spend a lot of time in those sections. But state views too. Didn't just stick to Georgia, obviously. And I organized the cards that I bought at the show by state. So when I do the members video showing all the cards I bought, I will, have those organized by state. And there are some states where I just didn't look at all. Like I would be at a dealer's table and I'd find so many good cards in different states, and then I'd just get to New Hampshire and be like, nope, not gonna do it. Just skipping on to what comes after New Hampshire, New Jersey. um, yeah, I think it's New Jersey. Old Man in the Stream said you should check out the Georgia Bottle Picker YouTube channel. He goes to flea markets in Georgia, and I've seen him pass by postcard boxes and albums. Yeah, I've seen. I think you commented that on a video. If you know what flea markets he goes to, I will check them out if they're close to me. But I don't. I don't know. I don't want to have to watch hours of their videos to try to see what flea markets they go to, if that makes sense. But if you know, and if you can put it in the chat, then I will check it out if it's close by. But maybe if I'm bad up for cards in a few months, then I'll sift through the videos trying to figure out where he goes. But yeah, I don't know. I don't go to a lot of flea markets. Maybe I should go to more. There's a fairly good-sized flea market near us in Athens that's been going for the few decades, but most of the flea markets that I've gone to in the South just have a bunch of junk. There's not a lot of antiques at the ones I've been to. Maybe I'm just going to the wrong ones, but ones I've been to, it's just like a bunch of Chinese-made junk. Not that everything made in China is junk, but the particular things that they sell at flea markets in here are just the mass-produced junk. Alan said I went to some tables and looked at Yellowstone and found 40 Series 100 cards, a few $40 plus Type A back for $1. Some had none, but a few had a lot of Series 100. Yeah, I happened to find one just when I was at this one dealer that I spent a lot of time with. Just happened to find one in the Wyoming section, but that's not one, or that's not a category I seeked out. Is that the right phrase? Seeked? No, yeah, some of those can definitely sell for really good money. I just, yeah, didn't really look for them. And I had a list before I went of things I was going to look for. And a lot of the things on my list, I just didn't have time to sit down and look for that specific state, city, or not state, for that specific topic, city or town or whatever. But let me actually check my list because I did. The one thing I did always look for was Georgia, of course, and that was definitely on my list of things to look out for. Oh, Louis Wayne. I did look for Louis Wayne, and I did find some nice Louis Wayne. Unfortunately, they were a little too expensive to add to my collection. This one dealer had a Louis Wayne card where it was a dress or a cat dressed as Santa, and I'd never seen that particular Louis Wayne card. I would have, I was going to buy it, but she had $400 on it, and that card very well may be worth $400, but I am not that big of a Louis Wayne fanatic, and I'm trying to get cards a little bit less than that. I probably would have paid $40 for that Louis Wayne card though, if it was 40 instead of 400, because it was really really cool. But I'm not that intensive of a Louis Wayne collector. Postcards on postcards was one thing I had down to look for. Definitely found some of those. Gas stations, trucks, Georgia, and then yeah. So I looked the small town in Ohio. I did look for, couldn't find anything, which I didn't think I really was. Mail delivery. I should have looked a little bit more for that. I did get one real photo of Seattle mail carriers. I don't think it's a super uncommon real photo, but I wish I would have been able to look for more mail carrier, mail delivery related stuff. Nice real photos. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at nice real photos specifically because uh, I don't know. It was hard, slim pickings for ones. I did buy some real photos and some nice real photos, but a lot of the dealers that had the really nice real photos were priced, um, you know, pretty. They were the type of real photos that I did pay up for some real photos at the show, but real photos that I would have added to my collection, I'm looking if they're not something I have a personal connection to, like if it's an Athens, Georgia real photo, I'll pay up for that. If it's a really small town in Georgia, I'll pay up for that. But just general real photo topics that I'm interested in, I'm just not going to pay, $150 for a real photo like that, unless it's something that I'm personally interested in. If it's just something like, oh, that's pretty cool, then I'm not paying a lot of that or not paying that amount for those cards. But yeah, a lot of dealers had really nice cards there. A lot of really nice real photos. And it was just cool to look at because even though I could tell I wouldn't really be spending a lot of money with a dealer or buying anything from a dealer, it was nice to just look through their cards and see some of the really cool real photos that they had. I There are a few cards I regret not getting. There was one, or not even asking about. There was one dealer that I bought a decent number of cards from. They had some sections that were on sale, so they had some cards that had a little red sticker on it, and that meant if you bought a certain number, they were all $1 each. So I spent a good bit of time buying enough to get them for $1 each, and then some of them had a yellow sticker that those cards were half off. But I didn't look through their better cards, and shortly before I was leaving, I did take a look, and they had, a little plate of glass or clear plastic over their table, and just some really, really nice linens laid out. I'm sure they would have been fairly pricey, but um, there's maybe one or two there that I would have picked out for myself. But I did get a lot of nice linens from Mary Martin, and yeah, it was so nice to meet them. They were couldn't be nicer. Her and Joey were there, and I think her other or one of her daughters was there too. and her employee was there as well. So, and yeah, their table wasn't, when I visited their table, it wasn't super packed, but I think it should have been. They had great stuff and great prices too. I only bought stuff at their table for my collection, but like the stuff that I bought, I would expect it to be much more online than some of the prices that I paid. But it just depends. And that's something that I'm probably going to talk about in a video too, is just the different pricing systems dealers have at shows. And it's really interesting because some dealers at shows, they also sell online and they price their cards pretty much the same as they price them online. Um, and yeah, totally valid way of doing it. Some dealers, they sell online, but they price their cards at shows completely different than how they price them online. Or if not completely different, a good bit different than how they price them online. And they price them based on the audience that's coming to shows and buying cards there. I would say Mary Martin was one of those that price their cards different than how they price them online and price them based on the audience that's coming to shows. So what that means is some of the nice linens and diners and stuff like that might be a bit higher at a show than it would be online. Some other cards might be a bit lower at a show than they are online. Ashley said, "Hi, sorry I missed the beginning, but glad to hear about York. Yeah, glad we got to make it. Glad there wasn't any sick cat. All of our cats are well, knock on wood. Alan said, practically no one I spoke to had boxes of Continentals. I found one box and bought most of them. Very cool cards. Yeah, most sellers just shrugged and said no. Yeah, that makes sense. That, I mean, one seller I went to, and they were a seller from the South, I believe from Alabama, larger seller. I just asked somebody else. I asked the first dealer I stopped at. It's like, if I'm looking for really good Georgia cards, do you know a dealer here that might have a good number of Georgia cards I can go through? And they pointed me straight to them. And they didn't even bring their boxes of Georgia cards, which was a bummer. But I think they go to, I know I've seen them at shows in Tennessee before and the Huntsville show when I went a couple years ago. So hopefully they're at the Georgia show next year and I can, and they bring their Georgia cards to the show. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I just think dealers are gonna bring what sells, and I don't think a lot of people at shows are interested in Continental cards. But I mean, if you go and you ask every dealer if they have Continental cards, maybe next show they'll bring them. Old man in the stream, I think he says the name and location on each video. Flea markets can definitely be hit and miss. He may be near coastal Georgia, so maybe too far from you. Yeah, that would probably be too far for like a day trip, but if we're ever in the area, I would go by. But I don't know a lot of. I'm not well traveled around the state of Georgia. Is a very large state. If you live in a state like, I don't know, Delaware, Rhode Island, you can know pretty much the whole state, even maybe New Jersey. Georgia, I know the Northeast area and around Atlanta, and that's about it. Alan said, second time I went to York, and again only went to a handful of tables due to time constraints and so many sellers. Yeah, I tried to, like I said, I tried to go to every single table and at least take a look at their Georgia cards. Because even some dealers that had their cards priced high, like I just know so much about Georgia cards and a few other topics, states, categories. Mostly southern states is what I know the best. So I will feel comfortable paying up for those states. But one card I bought from a really small town in Georgia, uh, which I will show on the members video whenever I get around to recording it and setting up a channel membership. But this small town, I've sold cards from printed cards, $150 to $200 plus, and I think I paid like $8 to $10 for this card. And if really any other dealer there or any other shopper there, seller there, whatever you want to say, saw that card, they'd probably pass it up because it was $8 or $10, and it's not. It's there's nothing really crazy about the scene. It was like a neighborhood street view with a church. So nothing about that card would scream to you that you needed to buy it, especially at $8 or $10. But again, that's just because I know Georgia so well and I know what, cards you can buy at good prices to sell and make money. A lot of the Georgia cards, though, I did keep for myself, which is um, a luxury I am willing to, or a luxury I am lucky to be able to have, is to keep some of the really nice Georgia cards for myself. But yeah, I found so many great cards. Let's do it. Let's do another postcard of the week, since I have so many. I don't want to just be showing these for the next 2 years. I won't do a postcard related one. Let me do one of my better Georgia ones that I found. Let's see. I'll do a printed one. Oh, this one's a nice one. That one's a good one. Man, they're all good. Oh, yeah, let me do. I know which one I want to do now. I think it is. It's so hard to see because the thumbnails are really small on my screen. Oh, it's this one right here, I believe. Yeah, this is one of the other ones I bought at the show. And Jefferson, Georgia is not too far away from me at all. And what is the back on this one? Let me see what I paid for this one. Sorry, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Go back. York Postcard Show. Okay, for this card, it was $15 before discount. And I still think I got a steal. So this tree marks the spot where anesthesia was first discovered by Dr. Crawford W. Long, Jefferson, Jackson County, Georgia. Jefferson, Georgia is a super small town. It is right down the road from me. Actually, we live fairly close to Jefferson Road, which is a road that connects Athens and Jefferson, but just super cool to find a card like this. I did buy a couple Athens cards that I didn't have. Nothing crazy, unfortunately. I wish there was, some really cool Athens real photos or whatever. But this one, I did get some nice Georgia ones at least. And this is one of the favorite ones I got. Jefferson, Georgia. I don't know how. I've never seen a Jefferson, Georgia postcard. And I've seen 10 or at least thousands and thousands of old Georgia postcards. Probably tens of thousands of old Georgia postcards. Actually, I know I've seen tens of thousands of old Georgia postcards. But yeah, this one was a great one. And yeah, I paid up for it. It was for my personal collection. Crawford W. Long was a pretty famous doctor in the area. There is a statue of him outside of the courthouse of the town that I was born in. Pretty well known name around these parts. Inventor of anesthesia, or not inventor, discoverer of anesthesia, and yeah, that one, man, just a great card. But if you don't collect Georgia, or if you don't deal with so many Georgia cards, and I bought this one for my collection, so I can't really say I would have bought it to sell or not. I probably would have, though. But would you pay $15 for this one? Because yes, it's a small town, but there's not really anything crazy that sticks out to you on that card. Anyway, just wanted to show that one too. Old Man in the Stream said, here in California, most postcard show dealer prices are all over the place. Some cards are undervalued and some are overvalued. Yeah, it's the same thing at York and pretty much any postcard show. You just have to look and, I would say sit down with a dealer and look at a category that you know the best and see how that dealer prices their cards based on what you know about that category. And I just say look through the category you know the best, because that's going to be the easiest way to tell. And if you know a certain state or a certain topic very well, then you'll be able to tell really quickly if a dealer has their cards priced just right, priced a little too high, or maybe priced a little under what they're going for. But it varies from dealer to dealer, but it also varies from card to card. Some dealers will have one card priced at $20 that is maybe a $5 card online, or and the opposite may be true from the exact same dealer. They have a card priced at $5 that online would go for at least $20. So you really just have to know know what I would say it's important to just, if you're gonna shop from dealers and shop from categories or states that you don't necessarily know a ton about, I would say it's important to know how they price. And I like sticking to, so I spent a ton of time. If you all watched Popeye's video, he talks about one dealer that had $5 boxes, $3 boxes, $2 boxes, $1 boxes. I spent a ton of time with him going through his $2 cards, and that was great because you don't really have to think too much about every single card when every card is $2. Then it's really easy to just get in the mindset of, well, is this card going to sell for at least, what's the number in your head? For me, it's around $10. So I'm thinking, hey, if I think I can sell this card for at least $10, I'll buy it for $2. But whatever that number is for you. With individually priced cards, it is a little bit more difficult, and I would say many dealers are better to buy from for your collection than to buy from to sell, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love both. I love shopping to collect. I love shopping to collect a lot more, obviously, but it's I'm only spending money doing that, not making money, so have to try to find a balance of both. But yeah, I really like, and there's some dealers that shows that price all of their cards really well. You know, they'll have maybe just an older school way of thinking about things where if this card, and they'll price things based on the view. So even if it's a really tough to find town, it's not like a knockout view, they'll price it at $3 or $4. I know dealers like that, and those are great to shop from. But yeah, I'm sad I won't be going to another show probably for 5 or so months until we have the next Georgia postcard show. But that'll give me time to refill my coffers and get a lot of funds saved up for the next show. But yeah, York was a great show. I love that postcard. Yeah, that was a great one. And literally, let me see how far away how far away I am from Jefferson. It's like the town over though. And the one thing I am bummed about is I didn't find any good Athens. I am gonna have to call the longtime Georgia dealer I know after this, because I bought some Georgia cards there specifically for him. I mean, I'll keep them if he doesn't want them, but I knew he would want them. And he has cards that I want, and I'm going to try and trade him some of these really good cards for some of his really good cards that I want a little bit more. But yeah, the only thing I was a little bit disappointed was I didn't find any really nice Athens cards. Yeah, Jefferson, Georgia, about 20 minutes away from me. Which I'm not super surprised about, but it's kind of crazy because the South cards are so much tougher to find. And my theory is that a lot of residents of the South at that time were lower income. It was still kind of the end of Reconstruction, so um, yeah, I don't think the South was quite as wealthy. Definitely not as wealthy as the Northeast, but not quite as wealthy as the Midwest or even the West either with the gold rush. That's my theory, that not everybody had a ton of disposable income to spend on things like postcards. But also the South has grown a lot, so there are so many towns now that are a lot bigger than they were 100 years ago. But Athens, if you pick up Athens and drop it in Pennsylvania, it would be so much easier to find postcards from, and it's just a little bit sad to me because I looked up the population of York, and it was like 45,000, something like that. And in Athens, we have 120,000. So Athens is almost 3 times as big as York, but it's so much easier to find old postcards from York. And let me just search on eBay because I don't want to say. Obviously, at the York Postcard Show, more people had York, Pennsylvania postcards than Athens, Georgia postcards. But just looking on eBay, I'm searching York, Pennsylvania postcard, and I have over 19,000 results. And then if I search Athens, Georgia postcard, I get 2,300 results. So I don't know, it just sucks sometimes collecting for towns that are so much difficult to find. Like, on eBay, about there's about 10 times the number of cards of York, PA than there is of Athens, Georgia. But we have 3 times the population of York, PA. And you can take that example and compare so many other southern towns to northeastern and midwestern towns and get similar results, but just trying to share a little bit of my pain with you looking for good cards. Alan said, I bought postcards lately on eBay. Packaging overall was non-eBay standard envelope, many using priority mailers cut up and turned inside out, others in a plain envelope that tore. So if you use ESE, you're way ahead. Yeah, a lot of sellers just use a stamp or don't know about ESE. Cool card. Thank you, old man in the stream. I have one. I'll try to remember to bring it up here next week. And I want to know if anybody's ever seen the same or a similar type of card. But I've seen cards with hair added on. I've seen cards with springs added on. I've seen a lot of things that glitter, of course. I've seen a lot of things, coins. I've seen cards with coins glued on. But I found my first postcard with a stick of gum glued onto it. I couldn't scan it, of course, so I can't show it to you on my screen, but I'll try to remember next week to bring it up here to show my postcard with a stick of gum glued onto it. And I can't remember which brand of gum it was. It was some health gum, which seemed like was the trend at the time, like a gum that's supposed to calm a nervous stomach or something like that. Jerry Lynn said I would have paid. Oh, I think I already did. I already show that comment. I already read it in my head. I don't know if I showed it on the screen, but yeah, that's a. In knowing what I know, I would have definitely paid. I mean, obviously, paid $15 before discount, but I would have paid probably like $30 for that card. Just because of what it meant to me, being 20 minutes away, and not that I go to Jefferson all the time, but just cool to have a card from a place that close to me. On COT, card of the week number 2, sign looks like it says harness. Yeah, it does, and I think this is a present day view when the card was produced. Although it says, he discovered it in 1842, and this is where he discovered it. Georgia was not very industrialized, so this is probably what Jefferson looked like in 1905, 1910. So I don't think this is a view from 1842. But where's the back of that card again? I can see if it was posted. Am I going to have to go, let's see, back to my folder. Let me just share the back. Not that it'll be super interesting to everybody, but it'll just be easier than hunting for the back in my collection of images. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, I think my eyes aren't too bad, but staring at these tiny thumbnails. Okay, here's the back of that card. So yeah, that stamp looks like 1907 to me. Card was maybe made before then. Definitely 1907 or earlier. But yeah, I would say that's a view of Jefferson, Georgia at the time this card was printed, but I am not the town historian, so I don't know for sure. Michael said, great to finally meet you in person, Daniel. Glad it was a great show for you two. Yeah, it was great. And it was really nice to meet you too. Let me know, what floor were you staying on? Because I think we were both staying at the Yorktown, which was a great hotel. Would stay at that hotel again. The guy working the front, I think it was like the same guy. I almost felt bad for him because the same guy was down at the front desk every single time I came by the front desk. And it just seemed like he never had a break or never left. So maybe he just works 16-hour-a-day shifts every single day of the week. We didn't go to the hotel bar or eat at the hotel, which I was a little disappointed because it was... they looked like they had good food, but they did have a mail chute in the hotel too. So you would they had a main mail collection thing in the lobby, and then every floor had a little slot you could put mail down into. So that was really neat. I think it's still functioning too and still in operation. But the hotel is still 100 years old. And I like staying in old places like that. Old Man in the stream agree. Also, some subjects sell for more on eBay and less at a show, and vice versa. Art or illustration cards seem to sell better in person, for example. Yeah, definitely those. And that's a category I won't even look at shows, like Pretty Ladies, because I know those sell so much better at shows than they do online. Um, and I didn't even really look through Pennsylvania, but I don't know. Pennsylvania is it's a decent seller for me, but it wasn't a state that I was going to spend a ton of time digging through. It's not one of my favorite states, I'll say that. Sorry to all the Pennsylvanians watching this. I know there are quite a few. Hi everyone, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Jim. I counted how many cards a seller who only sells RPPC copies. November 20th to 23rd had 37 sales at $14 each. That is crazy. He had 1,000 feedback with 16 negatives and probably more. Yeah, that's not surprising that they had that many sales. I mean, those sellers, for the most part, I don't know which specific seller you're talking about, but most of the sellers that I've seen have tens and tens of thousands of listings. So 37 over a 4-day period isn't super surprising to me. At $14 each, though, yeah, I think that's definitely too high for a copy. And most of the people that buy at that price probably don't know it's a copy, just because I know there's places you can get copies for cheaper. One thing I have thought about doing, and if I have the time and energy to do it in the future, I may, is just selling high resolution scans of postcards I sell that are in public domain at a really affordable price, like a couple dollars each, and just telling people, yeah, here's the high resolution scan. Go get, whatever you want to use this for, go get it made up. If you want to just keep this digitally and look at it on your computer or tablet or phone, it's ready to go. If you want to get this printed in a bigger size, it's high resolution. Or if you just want to get it printed in like a 3.5 by 5.5, you can do that too. I think there's definitely a market for that, as long as you're upfront with people. So I don't see the value in selling reprints, but I think there is a value in selling scans of images that are in the public domain, high resolution scans. So a collector that can't buy the card can at least have the image in their collection. And yeah, one day, if I ever get around to it. Gotta love Hotel Mail Shoot, said Ashley. And I did buy, let me show you this Little Rock card I have. You probably already have it. But it's a lobby of a hotel in Little Rock. And I don't think it's a super uncommon card, but let me show it to you anyway. Hold for one moment, please. Okay, pros of organizing the cards that you bought at the show by state. It was very easy to find that card. This is a Little Rock card I have, Ashley. It is part of Lobby Hotel Marion, Little Rock, Arkansas. I paid a dollar or two for it. I don't think it's a super uncommon card, but I couldn't remember having seen it before and thought it was a neat one. But yeah, let me know if that's one you need. That's the only Little Rock one I bought, I believe. Yeah, yeah. I bought a couple other Arkansas, but there weren't a lot of Arkansas cards there. But that is one of the states I look for too, just because I know it fairly well. Conway, Arkansas, I did get another card from because my wife went to school in Conway, Arkansas, and I'm sure the Conway, Arkansas card I got is pretty common, but I'd never seen a Conway, Arkansas card before, so I figured it would be worth a buck just to get a chuckle out of her. Michael, Ohio was there the second night, 7th floor. Okay, so you're a little higher up. Stayed there last year as well and had a couple meals. They're quite good, but this year I mostly just passed out. Yeah, I was tired as a dog. Is that the right phrase? The first day after the show, I slept. I didn't sleep the greatest the night before, but it's relative. I need a full 8 hours if I'm going to be feeling my best. And the night before the first day, I got like 6 hours of sleep. So I know for a lot of people that's the norm, but for me, I was super tired and definitely passed out the first night. Yeah, we didn't eat there any either, but we did have some good meals. There were not many restaurants in downtown York. I was kind of surprised because here we have our downtown area is not as big as it is, or maybe it is about as big as it is in York. It seemed like the downtown area in York was much bigger. Maybe that's just me. We didn't go around like the perimeter and count the number of blocks or anything, but um, in Athens there's got to be well over 100 restaurants downtown, I would think. Uh, at least 50. But in York, there were like 3 restaurants downtown when I looked it up. Or, that's a slight exaggeration, but not a crazy exaggeration. There just wasn't a ton to do downtown in York, Pennsylvania. It's common, but also beautiful. Yeah, I thought it was fairly common, but nice interior postcards like this I always pick up. And yeah, really nice colored postcard there. Beautiful, beautiful card. Set in 1908. Uh, Hotel where the banquet was given for children of the orphans. Oh, the Oddfellow orphans. Okay. Yeah, so I guess the person went to the Oddfellow orphanage banquet there at that hotel. Hendrix is where she went. And yeah, she went. I don't know if they had a reunion yet. She may have gone for a 5 year if they had it, but it's a pretty small college, so they do things like reunions and stuff there. UGA does not do reunions. That I know of at least. It'd be kind of crazy if they did, because there'd be like, what, 15,000 people that graduate every year? But yeah, it was Hendrix. I was a little bummed I didn't find a card of Hendrix, but it was the first Conway card that I remember seeing. And there's a few towns like that I know people have personal connections to. And what was the other one? I feel like I got a card for somebody else because it was from a certain town. I can't remember. Uh, it's sad the hotel was blasted into rubble 40 years ago. Yeah, that's sad. We have we have a historic society in Athens, and they are very much advocates for protecting buildings like that. That's yeah, but at 40 years ago, I think they were a little less so cautious about destroying old buildings. Maybe that's just a misconception I have, but it seems like they were a little less cautious. Fart Sack Jack said hi, here late as usual. Welcome in, Mr. Jack, or Mr. Fart, whichever you prefer. Um, oh, this is 20 miles south of Little Rock. I don't know where Conway is in relation. I assume it's south of Little Rock based on what you said, but I just know it's where my wife went to college. Stuttgart, yeah, yeah, because I've seen they have a lot of rice related postcards. But I bet Ashley, do you collect Stuttgart too? And I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Stuttgart. But I assume the ones that aren't rice related are the harder to find ones because I see a lot of the in a rice field in Stuttgart, Arkansas. Excuse my language. Do you find the glue on the EcoSwift mailer still works if they're older? I want to buy in bulk but don't sell a lot of postcards yet. Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about the glue expiring anytime soon. It's like the little peel and stick. I've never had a problem. I mean, I don't have Eco Swifts for years and years or anything, but I probably have some Eco Swifts that are like 6 months old maybe, because I don't know if I use the boxes in order every time, and the glue is fine. But yeah, I don't think you'll have a problem with the glue unless you're planning on buying enough Eco Swifts to last you for the next couple decades. Alan said, had a buyer purchase 102 cards in one order today, largest ever. That's crazy. How much? What is the dollar amount on that order, if you don't mind me asking? I'd imagine it has to be at least a couple $100s, right? But yeah, tell that buyer to go to ebay.com/str/mailseum and buy some more cards. No, that's great. I love when buyers make large purchases like that because you just know they're buying a lot of cards. If they buy that many cards, they've been looking through your store for a while. And chances are they're buying a lot of cards that have been up for a while, and it's just great having large orders like that. Brad, I use manila envelopes with an index card. It's postcard sleeve, 0 issues and 3 issues. Yeah, I don't think you'll have any issues with the glue. You were saying Stuttgart correctly, and yes, I have a big collection of Stuttgart. I feel like I'm changing how I say it, so I can't remember how I said it when I said it right. So I have to be, one of those has to be wrong. Stuttgart, Arkansas. Lots of rice related for sure, but I have a nice variety of topics and views. Nice. I still remember these cards I sold probably 3 to 4 years ago now, but I forget the town name in Arkansas, but it was a really small town and a really nice collection of real photos, and they sold for I think $80 to $100 each, and I had 3 or 4 of them, and ever since then I've always looked out for Arkansas cards, and the small towns in Arkansas can do really really well. I don't think I've ever seen a Stuttgart sorry, Stuttgart. Stuttgart. Well, I'm just gonna Google it. How to pronounce Stutt. I think I started saying it Stutt. Oh, that's the German. Stuttgart is how you pronounce the German town. If anyone's curious, I think I did start saying it correctly, and then I was overthinking it, and now I'm saying it incorrectly. Stuttgart. Is it Gert? Stoutgat. Now I'm even more confused. Stuttgart. 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 I think that's right. Okay. Yeah, nice town, hard to pronounce. $350 discount them. That's great though. What I wouldn't give to have a 101 card order right now. 102, sorry, even better. The sequel to the 101 card order. Oh, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but when I was listing cards today, I noticed eBay lets you put in your cost of goods per item now, so that's pretty neat. For those of you that like to track your cost on a per postcard basis instead of the overall amount that you spend on inventory, you can now do that directly through eBay. It's not as fast, but it's way cheaper. What did I miss? Oh, the manila envelopes with an index card instead of the Eco Swifts. Okay. I'm all caught up now. Stuttgart. I think I've got it back now. The rice and duck capital of the world. Thanksgiving weekend each year is the World Championship Duck Calling Contest and related activities. I assume you'll be out there doing duck calls, Ashley. I'd be happy with a 10 card order. Yeah, I mean, anything greater than 1. Although, anything greater than 0, really, I'm happy with. People say you shouldn't use that COG. eBay is going to use it against us. Oh, really? I haven't heard that conspiracy. That's a good one, though. That's a good one. Maybe that's my next video I'll make. I need to put the little pyramid on there with a seeing eye, and I'll put the eBay logo on the pyramid, and it's like above us watching us. Type in our cost of goods. Fart sack Jack, you just gave me a new video idea. I mean, I don't see eBay being competent enough to use it against us, but I mean, I guess they could, because if eBay sees you paid $1 for something or whatever, it might try to tell buyers to make a lower offer or something, but I don't know. I don't use it, but Ashley said have heard other resellers advise not to add cost of goods info in that new field. Good to know, good to know. I mean, I don't think, as the feature is now, I don't think they're, using it against sellers, but they could definitely add that in the future. The Seeing Eye Pyramid video will be coming. At some point, they will use it somehow to get more money. That's the thing. So eBay, I really don't think eBay is that competent. They don't really have many ideas of how to make money. Their only idea of how to make more money is to raise fees for sellers, but they are very creative at how they raise fees for sellers. And they don't, just raise fees and say, okay, fees are now 12% instead of 10% or whatever. They do it in sneaky ways. But other than that, it doesn't seem like they have many ideas on how to make more money. And they seem fairly incompetent. If I had to classify how I feel about eBay overall, it would be that I feel they're incompetent. But I'm sure there are some smart people that work at eBay. But with any company super big, I feel like it's going to be a large. There's going to be a lot of incompetence in any company that big because usually what you have to do to get promoted is just suck up. And if you just promote the people that suck up, then you got a bunch of losers running the company. And then, yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. They could in the future. I guess don't use it then. I'm not going to use it. I just thought it was interesting. Okay, for instance, what if they change the pay structure and you have to put your cost of goods in and they charge a percentage of what you make, I assume? I mean, yeah, the problem with this is then you would just I just don't think eBay is going to try to use this to make money because there's no way for them to verify any of this. And there's no way eBay is going to make you like upload a receipt of every single item you list because nobody really has receipts for all the stuff they're listing on eBay, especially if you're a hobby seller and you're just selling junk that you've had for years. Because if eBay does that, then all you have to do is put in a cost of goods that's about the same as what you're selling it for, and then you're paying basically no fees. So I don't think, I mean, it would be hard for them to charge fees based off cost of goods. The only thing I can maybe see is uh, if you maybe paid up for something, the suggested offers are a little bit higher. Like if you bought something for $1 and you're selling it for $100, and if you $100 and you put your cost of goods in, eBay might have a recommended offer that's lower for a buyer that's interested in buying your item. But if you're selling something for $100 and you paid $80, eBay might make the suggested offer that a buyer sends a little bit higher, since it knows you can't accept, less than $80 without losing money. But I don't know. I don't know. I I track all of my costs in an accounting app. It doesn't matter how much I pay for an individual postcard because it's all tracked. It's money in, money out is the way I do it. And yeah, I can go to my app right now and I can tell you exactly how much I've spent on inventory this year down to the penny. So I don't need eBay to track that for me, or to track my cost of goods. And it's also for postcards, I don't think that's really helpful. For something where you're like maybe buying and selling at a thrift store, I could see that feature being useful. But for postcards, I might buy a collection and the average cost or the cost of every card in the collection is going to be, I don't know, 20 cents a card. And I could put that 20 cents in for every single card, but that's not really useful to me because I'm going to have some cards that I sell for $4 or $5. And I'm going to have some cards I sell for maybe $50 or $100. So on the more expensive postcards, it's going to look like I'm making a ton of money. And on the cheaper postcards, it's going to look like I'm making not nearly as much. So that's not really useful for postcard sellers, I don't think. Just because we don't really buy postcards in. And maybe if you're buying them individually at shows, it could be useful to put in that information. But if you're buying collections, I don't think it's really useful to track the cost of every single individual postcard. It's more useful just to track the cost overall of what you're spending on inventory and overall what you're making. And think of it that way. Just put your cost of goods in your SKU. Yeah, you can just, there's so many other fields you can add it to. But, fart sack Jack, what if eBay knows that sellers will do that and they added the cost of goods field just to throw you off, and what they're actually tracking now is what you put in other fields as your cost of goods? Did you ever think about that? No, I'm all for the eBay conspiracies, but I generally think they're pretty incompetent and don't really have a lot of great ideas. So anytime somebody says eBay's going to do something, crazy, I'm just like, yeah, I mean that would be a good idea, but that's a little too smart for them. This is the same company that had higher level executives harass people and send them like pigs' heads and stuff. Let me see if I can find it. And I want to say eBay stalking scandal. Um, yeah, it involved senior employees at eBay and members of eBay's executive leadership team. Anybody who hasn't, just read this quick Wikipedia article about the eBay stalking scandal. And this is an incompetent company. So the people they harassed were the ones that run the website e-commerce bytes, which I subscribe to. It's got really good information about not just eBay, but other e-commerce websites too. And a smart thing for a company to do, if a website is writing things about you that you don't like, there's a few different ways you can play it. A great way would be to, this is the best way, would be to examine exactly why they're writing things about you that you don't like and see if maybe there's something you should change about your company that would stop them from writing those things. That's the first thing I would suggest to look at. But if you don't want to do that, second thing, you can just be really nice to them. And a lot of people do this in so many different industries. It happens all the time with politicians and lobbyists. Lobbyists don't, if a politician votes against something a lobbyist wanted, they don't stalk them and send them, cut off pig's heads or whatever. They send them a bunch of gifts and they, you know, try to impress them, give them money, give them stuff. That's the other option that eBay could have done. Just develop a cozy relationship with e-commerce bytes, and hope that increases their opinion of you and makes them write more favorably about you. So either one of those options would have been great. Um, Changing your own company to make somebody not write something that you don't really like, or just developing a cozy relationship with them. So you're maybe, and this doesn't happen. This happens subconsciously. Nobody, even politicians, they don't get $1 million in gifts from Jack Daniels and then think, okay, I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote to kill this bill that would legalize marijuana because we got all this money from Jack Daniels. That exact thought does not go through their head. What goes through their head is, oh, well, this bill would hurt my friends at Jack Daniels, and they're such good people. They send me these gifts every Christmas. They gave me all this money. So I don't want to hurt my friends. That's what's going through their head. So you could go that route, or you could change your own company. But what you shouldn't do is stalk them and harass them, which is what eBay chose to do. So that is an incompetent company, and I haven't seen any evidence to change my mind. I believe they're still incompetent, and their actions, to me, I think prove that because they're not coming up with smart and creative ways to make more money. They're just coming up with sneaky ways to raise fees on sellers, and that's just a fact. But it happens with so many big companies. eBay's not necessarily unique. With so many companies of that size, it's just the people working there don't really care about the success of the company, um, unless you're one of the higher ups. But if you're like a peon at eBay, you're not getting paid more to do better work. And as long as you do well enough for your boss and they do well enough for their boss, anyway, that's a long rant. Uh, yeah, the people tell that to the people at Jack Daniels. No, that's one of the big reasons why we don't have uh, legalized marijuana, or there's so many other examples, but is lobbyists. There's so many things that you can look at in our country and think, why is this not better? Because it's just common sense. And what I found most of the time, the reason why something's not better is because of money. And people with money don't want things a certain way. And the people without a lot of money are the ones suffering. Not in, uh, not, well, they accidentally legalized it in a lot of states. And I forget, it was like the Farm Bill accidentally legalized something. But I saw that they did put something in the bill that they just passed to uh, make it illegal again. So they're going backwards. It was the budget bill they passed or whatever. Um, yeah, yeah. It was the Yeah, it was the bill they just passed. Um, let's see. Yeah, read this article. Fart sack Jack. The bill they just passed that reopened the government had a lot of stuff in there, cracking down on CBD, THC, um, and yeah, if you look at all the people that voted for it, um, they all get a ton of donations from the alcohol industry, which and gambling. Don't even get me started on gambling. That might be even worse. And it's hard to be worse than the alcohol industry, but gambling is another thing that there was, I think, like what, 5, 10 years ago, there was public support for legalizing gambling, but I don't know anybody now. I haven't talked to anybody that thinks that all the gambling we have in society now is a good thing. And I am not a person that thinks uh, that wants to regulate morality, but the gambling has gone way too far, and people are losing thousands and thousands of dollars gambling away millions of dollars if you have it. I know pro athletes that have gambling problems maybe gamble that amount, but for regular people, tens of thousands of dollars, it's not uncommon that people lose to gambling, and all of that is lobbyists. And there was, like I said, some public support initially for legalized gambling, but now who out there is like, man, I am so glad that all of these gambling companies sponsor the NFL. I'm so glad that I watch sports games on a gambling channel now, like FanDuel Network. I'm so glad that all of my sports leagues are make so much money from gambling. It's such a great thing. Nobody is saying that, but just happens because they are the ones with all the money and they are lobbyists. I have a gambling problem, not enough loot. But gambling is everywhere. It's not even just in sports, but it's just sad. And I sound like, I don't know. I don't think you should um, regulate morality, and I don't like laws telling people that something is bad so they can't do it. But I think stuff like this that causes such a huge harm to society should be. We've made a mistake. We need to go back. Like I think some gambling can be legal, but we've gone too far. It's too legal now. Gambling is too legal. I mean, kids that play video games are gambling because you can get loot boxes that have like special cosmetics or guns in them. Which if you don't play video games, you probably have no idea. But there are video games where you can buy loot boxes with in-game currency, and then you can sell items you get in those loot boxes for real money. And there are a ton of kids playing these games, and they're getting addicted to gambling by playing video games and just like spinning a wheel on these loot crates all day and getting, It's not even real stuff. It's like just a gun or an item you can use in a game, or a cosmetic, like a little outfit or something you can dance around in a game. And it's just crazy. What a crazy world we live in. I uh, I love to gamble on whatever. Yeah, I mean it's fun. Was a little too fun for me. It made things a little too exciting. And I've gambled on sports probably 2 or 3 times total in my life, so I'm not an expert. But I do remember the last time that I gambled on sports. It was a Georgia football game, and first mistake, don't gamble on any event that you have like an emotional connection to or whatever. I'm not like the biggest Georgia fan, but I like for them to win most games. Uh, so yeah, I bet on Georgia to win by a certain amount of points, and the game was just insane. It was like $50. It wasn't a large amount. It was like $50 or something that I bet. And it was way too exciting, and I could see how people get addicted to gambling. And I won that, surprisingly, and that was the last time that I gambled on anything. But I don't know. I just think that if you have fun doing it and you don't spend too much money, it's totally fine. But I could definitely see how it could be addicted, and that kind of scared me away from it. And I knew even if I was, an average gambler, you're still gonna lose money on average over time, because it's there aren't many people making money from gambling. And even if you do make a little money, then you have to pay taxes on it, and they report that. So the government will get their cut too if you make any money gambling. Um, there are people selling farts in jars. Uh, I mean, I would assume you're one of those people, Fart Sack Jack, based on your name. Kalshi is interesting. Another thing that should not be legal. All of how did we get to this point where all of this stuff is just completely illegal? I don't understand it. It's just ridiculous. And these aren't. So maybe if Kalshi just had like regular people bets, okay, whatever. But the type of bets on Kalshi are degenerate stuff. And let me just go to the website right now, and I will prove my point. Um, okay, let's see. Yeah, so on the front page of Kalshi, you can bet on the high temperature today in New York City. The current leading bet is 54 to 55 degrees. The second place leading bet is 56 to 57 degrees. You can bet on the Dancing with the Stars season 34. You can bet on what the announcers will say during the Kansas City at Dallas Pro football game. The top things are wild, face mask, stuffed. So yeah, these aren't normal. These aren't normal betting things. These are degenerate betting things. Like, who bets on what temperature it will be in New York today? Like, nobody has inside information on what the temperature will be. The only way you should be betting on that is if you're a studied meteorologist and you've reported on New York your entire life, and you somehow have more information than this gambling site about what the temperature will be in New York. But this is just ridiculous. Here, I'll go to, let's see. You can bet about pretty much any, you can bet about like the high temperature anywhere. This is just ridiculous. Let me see. Mentions. You can bet about what people will say, which again, this is just degenerate stuff. You have no idea if people will actually say something. And how would you know more than somebody else if somebody's going to say something? Oh yeah, you said check out mentions. Yeah, I'm on that right now. This is just ridiculous. Like this is degenerate type stuff right here. And this is completely legal in the United States, and I don't think it should be, is all I'm saying. I think we need to crack down on gambling, and some gambling, fine, that's fine. I think what we need to do, take control over all the gambling companies, use all of the revenue, because people are addicted to gambling. Why don't we make something good out of it? It's not like the money right now is being used for anything good. It's just being used to, fund more gambling commercials and whatever else to enrich executives. What we should do, keep some gambling legal, some non-degenerate stuff, like maybe regular sporting events and stuff like that, whatever. But we take control of it as a country, and we funnel the money to like pay for poor kids to go to college or something good like that, instead of just making rich people richer. That's what I would do if I was elected dictator for a day. Because I have to say dictator for a day now, because if you're president, you can't really. Um, I mean, some presidents do more crazy stuff than others, don't get me wrong, but you're limited for the most part. If you were president before 2024, you're mostly limited in what you can do. From what I've read in the news, the Supreme Court recently said that presidents can do whatever they want, but I believe they will change their mind when a Democratic president gets in office. But anyway, let's pretend we're in 2024 and you're Joe Biden. You can't just say you want gambling to be illegal. You need Congress to pass legislation. You need to get everybody on board, whatever. So if I just have control over everything and the Supreme Court says I can do whatever I want and I just rule over the country with executive order, which is totally not a thing that would ever happen in the United States, I would make gambling illegal, and I would make private gambling illegal. I would make some gambling available to the public, and I would make all of that money go to good things. But I don't know. I think it's overall very negative for society. But if people want to spend all their money, whatever. But I don't think we need to help them do it as much as we do. Like before, people have always gambled, um, even before we had legalized gambling. But they didn't have 100 commercials a day that they watched for gambling, and they didn't have a gambling channel, and they didn't have gambling billboards, gambling everything. So it's just a little bit too much now, is all I'm trying to say. Anyway, it's gotten a little bit too late. I will be ending the stream in a few minutes. If you have any other questions or comments before I end the stream, just let me know. Uh, Sorry, I got a little bit off topic from the start of the video where we were talking about the York, Pennsylvania postcard show. Daniel for Dictator 2028. Well, if it's for Dictator, why 2028? Why not December 2025? And I need to think up a catchy slogan because it seems like that's really all it takes. Not sure what it is, but those ads annoy me. Yeah, they're just terrible. Terrible. Uh, I if I never saw another gambling ad again, it would be too soon. It's so many no, it's been so many, like it's crazy that it's almost just become normal to us now to just watch a football game and you get 100 ads that say go to DraftKings or whatever all the other ones are. But anyway, postcards for all, postcards for everyone. Um, no, leaving leaving it on politics, I will say I think the country is healing with how much Zoran and Trump got along. That was hilarious. If anybody saw that, I thought that was incredible. Um, because nobody would have thought that those two would have got along, but they were like best buds. Hal said perhaps you might show us another postcard you bought at York. I will do that before I leave today. Let's see. Let me look for a good one. I showed one Georgia. I showed one postcard related. Let me pull up a nice linen card. Let's see. Okay. There's a lot to choose from. I'm just trying to find the best one. Uh, hmm. That one's pretty good. I don't know. They're all really good, but I'll do. Oh, where's. Okay, I know which one I'm going to do now. Let me just find it. Again, these thumbnails, if you could see my screen right now, I'm looking at thumbnails that are about 2 millimeters each in height. Um, Here it is. Okay, I found it. Uh, Whoops, wrong button. Image file. There we go. Okay, this is the last postcard of the week. We've had 3 postcards of the week this week, which, yeah, I might be able to do 3 every week for a little while at least. This is one I bought at the show. This is Cat's Drug Stores, St. Louis, Missouri. Just thought it was a really incredible linen card. I got this from Mary Martin. Anything cat related, I really like. Where's the? Let me see the back of this one. Cat's Drug Store featuring 26 super departments, including drug prescriptions, toilet goods. Interesting, they list that second. Candy, Kodak, tobacco, liquor, jewelry, hosiery, electrical, sporting goods, hospital needs, stationery, books, magazines, notions, otology, hardware, and truss. Well, I knew what I was with them until notions, otology, hardware. I know what hardware is, truss. So if anybody knows what those last few were, let me know. But this one, I mean, should speak for itself. Just incredible linen card, storefront, cats. That is my final postcard of the week. I'll catch up on a few comments and then I will see you all next week. Louis or Lewis says, I find all the medical ads more annoying on TV and everywhere. That too, another thing. Why are we advertising for drugs? It's not like I can just go prescribe or not. It's not like I can just go get the GLP one. What's the popular ones right now? Wegovy. There's so many of them. That's ridiculous. How did we get to this point where we have I just want regular ads again where they want me to buy a product. All the ads now are trying to get me to gamble more money or gamble money, um, or go tell my doctor to prescribe me something. It's crazy. Anyway, I was told you can only pay the 74-cent eBay standard envelope postage from your funds and not credit card. I like to use credit card as much as possible. Is that the rule? I have no idea on that. Somebody else, I know it charges it differently, but if somebody else knows, they may be able to answer that. I know it is charged differently than it does for USPS postage, though. Notions, sewing items like buttons, zippers, and threads. Okay, good to know. The other ones I didn't know were otology. What is otology? Okay, I guess otology is ear stuff, like hearing aids, and then truss. Truss. Truss means, I don't know, things that bind devices together. I am really for a loss at what truss means in the context of a department at a store. Anyway, I will be back next Tuesday. I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Trust support for hernia. Okay, thank you. I have fortunately never had a hernia, so I didn't have to get a truss, but that makes sense. So all the mysteries are solved. I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving and happy Black Friday. And I hope you see as many or as few gambling ads this week as you wish. See you next week.